Current fighter planes are incredible. They have enormous maneuverability, capable of making you lose consciousness in a couple of seconds. What you see in the Top Gun Maverick movie. When the enemy plane does that maneuver, well, that maneuver exists, although it's really more designed for air shows than for actual combat. But why can't the fighter planes at air shows fly for more than 15 minutes? Or why can some planes be considered clean? Or why is the Eagle Patrol one of the best in the world? That's what you're about to discover. There are few moments when an ordinary person can see a plane showing its capabilities to the extreme. With the rise of social media, this has become more accessible to the general public. But witnessing these wonders in person has nothing to do with watching it through a screen. We're not just referring to military planes. Look at what the Boeing 777-10 does at air shows. This beast measures about 80 meters long. In 2018, an air show was held in Albacete for the 40th anniversary of the Tactical Leadership Program. Until that moment, I had never seen a polar fighter plane up close. Let me tell you, that day was a turning point in my life. I witnessed fighter planes from various countries flying in close proximity. Since that day, I have done everything possible to go to as many air shows as possible because it really impacted me a lot. Perhaps at this point you are wondering, what is an air show? Well, it's the translation of flight exhibition, where pilots show their skills and push their aircraft to the limit. In these exhibitions, you can see all kinds of civil, acrobatic, commercial, and military aircraft. Personally, the most impressive to me are the fighter bombers. Although I know perfectly well that there are other planes that are probably more difficult to fly, such as acrobatic planes, which perform incredible maneuvers. Most importantly, they lack ejector seats. It's not the same to perform risky stunts knowing that you have the possibility of being catapulted out of the plane if something goes wrong, than to do them knowing that you won't have a second chance. However, for those not involved in aviation, comprehending the intricacies of aerobatic displays can be challenging. However, in a fighter plane, even if the plane made a straight pass by the side of the public, the noise would make people get up from their seats. I'm not saying fighter pilots aren't good, far from it, they just have the advantage of flying a fighter. That in itself is very impressive. I want to take a moment to talk about the issue of noise. Even though the plane is a kilometer away from you, if it activates the afterburner, you will be able to feel the ground you are standing on vibrate. Evolutionarily, your brain can't comprehend the situation. We haven't evolved with those kinds of sounds, so you can feel the adrenaline flowing within your body. The loudest airshow I've ever experienced was in Riyadh, in Great Britain, in the year 2022, when two Eurofighters took off in parallel to simulate an interception of a Hercules. Can you see my face as I turned to look at my friend Santi, very surprised, because what that sounded like was not normal. I happened to have a decibel meter at that moment, which measured the sound at 115 decibels. The normal thing in air shows is for the noise to be more or less between 100-120 decibels, but 115 was very wild. A few weeks ago, I was at the Moron Air Base, where Spain operates many Eurofighters. I spent the entire morning with Felix Dieguez, the pilot responsible for all the Spanish Eurofighter air shows in 2024. I already uploaded a video to my secondary channel where I detailed everything that happened that day because it was truly absolutely incredible. Something I had been wondering for a long time was, how is an air show created? So that day I asked Felix and he told me the following.
But basically, it's created by going into tables and looking at the flight characteristics of the plane at high speed with a lot of power. So you have to square all those parameters to make sure you can do the exhibition safely.
This means that they are designed taking into account the limitations and capabilities of the planes at all times. And that is represented in tables like the ones you can see here for the F-18. In addition to the plane's inherent limitations, safety regulations must be followed. NATO countries abide by rules set by the alliance. For instance, one restriction is that you can't fly faster than sound. There are also others about the lowest allowed flight altitude. And generally, except in exceptions, you cannot fly over the public, although I have seen this done. A Eurofighter has much more maneuverability than a Harrier, which would allow it to perform more acrobatics and concatenate them better. On the contrary, the Harrier can remain static in the air. I assure you, witnessing it just a few meters away is unforgettable due to the sound it generates. Generally, all fighter planes perform loopings, barrel rolls, slow passes, and fast passes. The demonstrations are very studied and rehearsed by the pilots. They know perfectly by heart what they have to do at all times. They don't improvise, contrary to what some may think. That day we were at the airbase. I could see how Felix practiced the show first in the simulator, to practice it a few hours later in real life with the plane. Of course, what was practice for him was enjoyment for me. But he does practice a lot. As you can imagine, performing aggressive maneuvers close to the ground allows no room for error, which is why practicing it extensively is crucial. Modern fighters can withstand up to 9G. This means that the changes in direction are so strong that during maneuvers, everything inside the plane weighs 9 times more, including your body, with your organs, blood, eyes, etc. Combat pilots use a special suit to handle G-forces. I have an upcoming video dedicated to explaining this in detail. But the limiting factor during these maneuvers is that the blood inside your body feels such a tremendous force that it leaves the brain. And that's what causes a person to faint during these maneuvers. To help pilots withstand more, there are anti-G suits which inflate very strongly during these turns, so that the suit, by squeezing your body, prevents the blood from leaving the brain. When you're flying, does your suit inflate and deflate all the time?
Yes, every time you put in G's, depending on the G's, is that it?
I mean, the computer detects it and puts in a "is that it?" Legs and chest too, right? Yes?
Even the helmet inflates too.
But I want to make it clear that even though this suit is called an anti-G suit, the G forces are actually supported exactly the same. What they do is make it harder for the blood to leave the brain, but the human effort is the same. Normally, at air shows, the planes do not carry any type of missile or external fuel tank. This is so that the plane can show its capabilities to the maximum. This is called a clean plane, and it does not mean that the other planes are dirty. Rather, the term clean is used to refer to it not carrying any external fuel tank, bomb, or missile. Curiously, fighter plane exhibitions rarely last longer than 15 minutes. This is because the plane actually burns almost all of the fuel in that quarter of an hour. Consider the Eurofighter as an example. It's equipped with 2 EJ200 engines. Wikipedia states that the fuel consumption in military power is around 0.92 gallons per second. But when the afterburner is activated, the consumption shoots up to about 11 liters per second. Please consider for a moment, what are 11 liters per second? Considering the plane can carry about 652.83 gallons of fuel. If it were operating all the time with the afterburner on, it would run out of fuel in 9.5 minutes. But at air shows, the afterburner is not used all the time, so they usually last about 15 minutes or so. So now you understand why in real life, to carry out combat missions, it is so important to carry external fuel tanks, or even in-flight refueling, which we already talked about in this video. It's very interesting to go to air shows where several planes fly on the same day, because you can clearly see the differences between them. For example, it's clearly noticeable that the F-18 is very good at low-speed flight. Remember, it's a plane made to land on aircraft carriers, so it must fly very slowly. On the other hand, the Eurofighter has one of the best thrust-to-weight ratios, which allows it to ascend vertically like a rocket. Russian planes are known for their tremendous maneuverability, and the F-22 Raptor also performs incredible maneuvers. The most impressive one, from my point of view, is known as tail slide, which translated into Spanish would be something like sliding the tail. A maneuver in which the plane ascends vertically and reduces power until it stands still in the air for a moment and begins to descend with the tail. Shortly after, it lowers the nose and continues flying. It's truly amazing. I haven't seen it in person yet, but I know it won't be long before I do. I can't fathom the pilot's situation when these maneuvers were first tested to determine their viability. It must have been nerve-wracking. Spain currently operates 2 fighter planes, the Eurofighter and the F-18. It's true that the F-5 is also flown, but its purpose is to train new pilots in fighter planes. Since it's a much older plane than the F-18 and the Eurofighter, the Air and Space Army has a pilot prepared for platform exhibitions. That is, there is an F-18 pilot and a Eurofighter pilot prepared to do the exhibitions. In previous years, there was a prepared pilot at each airbase, which means there were several Eurofighter pilots and several F-18 pilots, prepared for air shows. After having been to quite a few air festivals, and I've seen many exhibitions of many planes from many countries, the Eurofighter from the Spanish Air Force has impacted me the most in Montreal in 2022 and 2023. It was incredible to see the plane performing aggressive maneuvers, low over the water and passing very close to the public. Moreover, in 2023, we were able to enjoy this marvel with the fast pass. The United States has a strong aeronautical culture and recognizes the significance of hosting these events. Every weekend, from spring to fall, there are several air shows throughout the country. In fact, they have several aircraft teams dedicated exclusively to this, such as the F-16 demo team, the F-22 demo team, the F-35 demo team, the A-10 demo team, and the F-18 Super Hornet demo team. And then, of course, there are the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds. The Blue Angels are the official demonstration team of the Navy, and they are 6 aircraft. Right now, they are flying the F-18 Super Hornets. The aircraft change over the years, depending on the plane being operated at the time. The Blue Angels are very famous for flying extremely close to each other. We're talking about them flying inches apart while performing maneuvers. It's outrageous. On the other hand, the Thunderbirds are the official demonstration team of the United States Air Force. These are also 6 planes that are painted a particular color, white and red. At this moment, they are flying the F-16, but really, just like with the Blue Angels, it depends on which plane is being flown at each time. In Europe, not as many events of this type are organized. But even so, there are several countries that have airplane teams for air shows, such as the British Eurofighter or the French Rafale. Apart from this, many countries have acrobatic patrols. For example, the English Red Arrows, the Italian Frecce Tricolori, or of course the Spanish Patrulla Águila are very famous. The Patrulla Águila is a team of 7 Construcciones Aeronáuticas Sociedad Anónima C-101 aircraft. Without exaggeration, it might be one of the world's best acrobatic patrols, just to give you an idea of the level. It's the only jet acrobatic patrol that lands all its planes at the same time. There are also air festivals featuring multiple fighter planes flying together. Like, for example, the Swiss Pilatus Patrol, which has an air show prepared with an F-18. I found this quite shocking because you can see the size difference between the F-18 and the Pilatus. Another example is the Air Force Heritage Flight Foundation from the United States, where they fly several planes in formation from the legendary P-51, F-86, F-16, A-10, or the F-22. Other countries host significant air shows like those in Dubai and Singapore, showcasing the world's finest aircraft. I still haven't been able to see any Sukhoi 35, Sukhoi 57, or any of these advanced Russian planes. But the people I know who have seen them have told me that it's absolutely incredible. Air shows are crucial for generating enthusiasm in the aerospace industry. That's precisely what occurred to me in Albacete in 2018. I discovered how incredible that was, and all I wanted was to learn more so I could share it with you. I'm sure most of you had a similar experience as a child or recently when attending an air show. That left you amazed, and thanks to that, you became very interested in the aerospace sector? It's unlikely anyone attending an air show would see a Eurofighter's performance and not be impressed by it. I think it's completely impossible. I reiterate that I have focused on fighter planes, but at air shows there are all kinds of planes. And seeing a pilot go into a spin, turning around like crazy, unforgettable sights, a Boeing 777-10 taking off vertically, or a Harrier static right in front of you. In 2024, we are fortunate in Spain as there will be several air festivals. I've provided a link to a calendar in the description. I will update it every year so that you always have the best information about the air shows of each year. Felix Dieguez, the Eurofighter pilot I met in Moron, confirmed he will fly the Eurofighter at the Guion Air Show, so you already know who will be doing the stunts.
Listen to me. If you don't want to miss what Sergio saw today, go to the Guion Air Festival this year.
I also wanted to mention that there are several countries that are withdrawing their exhibition teams. The F-16 demo team from Belgium has been cancelled in 2024. Similarly, the United States A-10 demo team has also announced its retirement in 2024. This is because maintaining a team of people, a pilot, and a specialized plane for this, well, it costs a lot of money, and sometimes the budget, well, simply doesn't stretch that far. So please, people, let's go to as many air shows as possible to make those who organize them understand that it's truly important to generate that passion from a young age, so that when they see a plane fly, they want to work on a project that can make that plane or something similar. So for you who have not yet been to an air show, take my advice, even if it's far away, get in the car, talk to some friends, and go to the next air festival. Because it really can change your life. Subscribe to see more things like this.